Hello friends, today we're doing something a little different courtesy of my AHR teammate Bob's your uncle. He thought it would be cool to try and get the gold time with every Group 3 car in last week's time trial. Unfortunately, Bob has yet to do this, so now it is up to your favorite American. Before I go any further, take a moment to pause the video and guess which car you think I got my fastest lap in. If you're feeling particularly bold, leave a comment with which car you think it is and see if you were right at the end of the video. Now, I want to personally show how I do time trials before I start the car countdown, so if you're only interested in whether or not I can complete the challenge, the action starts around 5 minutes in with a simple lap guide. With all that said, let's move over to Gran Turismo, where we find the time trial in sport mode. And you'll see it is Lago Maggiore West End in the Group 3 cars. You'll also see, as per usual, Mr. Jeddah_Racing with the current world record. That fellow loves their time trials. We still have 10 days to go to complete this challenge. And you will see that the Supra appears to be the car of choice for everybody in the top 11 at the very least. And so the Supra is what we are going to start with. Now, I did not watch the top times, the replays of the top times, before hopping in the car. Some people like to do that. I personally like to get an idea for what the track feels like before I start watching lap times. I just like to get a feel for the car first before I start digging into braking points and things like that. It takes a little bit longer, but it's just personal preference. One thing I want to address as I'm driving around the track and getting a feel for it, a lot of people will say, hey, this challenge is really easy. Anyone could do it. You know what? You're wrong. This is not easy. The fact of the matter is, most people that play Gran Turismo are extremely skilled. They're far more skilled than the average person. People that make things look easy doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy. In fact, my dance teacher likes to say, it's amazing how much effort it takes to make something look effortless. And as you will see later on in this video, there were some cars that took a lot of effort. And as we come across the line for the first time, it's a 53.8. The next lap, it's a 53.0. So we're starting to warm up to the combination, starting to get a little bit faster, and then we skip ahead a couple laps. We have a 52.3. So the first thing you'll notice is that, yes, I use traction control. It gives me a little bit of a safety net on things like the curbs and things like that. I still roll into the throttle and things like that, as you can see just there. It's all about just being a little bit safer and allowing me to save a little bit of time. We're going to start trying to push here. So the Sector 1 was a 17.4, but I brake a little late going into the hairpin, completely throw off the lap. A good time for Sector 1. The closer you are to 17.0, the better. The world record, I think, was a 16.8. That's a little unreasonable. We skip ahead. We get a 52.2. So we're getting better here and there, starting to push. I get a little loose coming out of Big Banky Boy. Let's see where this lap ends up. This is 7 straight laps of warming up to the combination. We come across the line and we get a 52.3 and also lose the car. Understeer through that final corner would become a theme of this time trial, down to a 52.146. I feel like at this point, I'm doing pretty well. I'm going pretty fast. 52.1 felt pretty good to me. As we skip ahead a few more laps, you can see 52.6, 52.7, 52.1, 52.2. I'm starting to stagnate. Usually when I stagnate, I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'm probably well into the gold time by now. 52.3. Yep, let's check out the gold time. Not even gold. 52.1. You've got to be kidding me. All my teammates are going to laugh at that, by the way. Whatever. Here's your lap guide. Across the start-finish line, we're going to brake right after the steward box on the left. Go down to 4th or 3rd. Try to cut that first corner as much as you can. Use the outside curb and drag the brake down to 3rd. Cut this as well. Here, this is flat. You can kind of ride the inside curb. Honestly, I couldn't really tell you exactly where to brake here. It's right after the checkpoint. cut that inside curb, a little bit of power in a straight line, and then brake in a straight line down to first. Use whatever gear is safe, and then power out. You can see I'm a little bit behind. We're going to get right with Big Banky Boy. About halfway between the wall and the end of the curb here is where I'm going to brake. I was using a piece of sunshine on the curb, believe it or not. Third gear out of Banky Boy. You can really push hard out of there. And up the hill we go. Get tight to this white curb here on the inside, and then use all of the curb here. Sometimes you can cut it. And that is car number 1 with a 51.829. From here, we're just going to go down the list of cars, and the first one up is the Silhouette. And uh-oh, nasty understeer in the final corner. The Silhouette was the first of what was several nightmares in the time trial. First lap, though, that we complete is a 53.2. The very next lap, we understeer, bounce off the wall, 52.4. So there's some pace in the car. On the next couple of laps, 52.9, bounce off the wall again. How about this lap? The 7th lap in a row. Cut the curb a little bit more there. 52.3. So I'm close, right? Right? Well, that's what I thought. Only 3.5 tenths to take off. We need a 52.059 at this point as we jump ahead. This is lap 10 of the session. The 17.5 is fast enough, but it's on the highest possible end. And then as you can see, even with traction control, even with the Silhouette, that big turbo kicks in and it's a crash. So we retry, and then we run off, understeer yet again, run off the track, we restart. Now for this lap, a 52.399. This car was really hard to drive. It just, ever since the physics changed, this car has been nearly undrivable. It just understeers, the power in it's gone, understeering off the track again. And this lap is now ruined. And then it resets me, and I have a moment where I chuckle to myself. Now, going through here, this is not even a lap. It's an out lap off the wall. Have to start again. Here we go again. Cutting the corner, trying to figure this out. I still understeer into the wall. The 52.3 doesn't even count, and it's still not fast enough. On the next attempt I retry, we get a 52.1. But that's not fast enough. So the next lap we come through, 52.3, still not fast enough. This car took me almost 30 minutes understeering again. This car was a nightmare, and it was the very first non-Supra that I had. 52.4 on the next attempt. Braking into turn 1, trying to take the same line every time. We jump ahead, 52.2. I'm so close. And then I got on this lap. A 51.945. Whew! That one was rough, but it was not the roughest car I had to drive in this challenge. Next up, the Volkswagen BGT, much easier, fortunately, a 52.002. Then the M3, this car actually handled pretty nicely, even if it was a little on the slow side, 51.956. Next up, the 2013 GTR, everyone loves this car. This one was nice and easy, only on the second lap, 52.025. Next up is the Mustang. This car was actually really nice to drive. 51.703. Do recommend it if you don't like meta cars. And that is where I ended my first day of time trialing. It had taken me a couple of hours to reach 6 out of the 49 Group 3 cars. But I felt like it was possible. I felt like it would be doable. I just wondered how long it would take me to do, and then I woke up the next morning. The world record had been lowered, and that meant one of my cars was no longer gold, or so I thought. But I decided I'd revisit it later, and now we are on to the prototype Lexus. As we come across the line, you'll see it's a 52.026? Oh, come on. 1,000th? Give me a break. Gran Turismo. These things, I tell you what, sometimes, love this game, sometimes it just drives you crazy. So we go again in the Lexus. One lap later, it's a 51.958. Now the Group 3 Atenza, really pleasant car to drive, not super fast, 51.940. Now we're going to move on to the Peugeot VGT. This was the next little speed bump in my adventure. This car, understeered, really, really terrible. Ever since the physics change, it's been known as kind of a high-speed top-end car. It's got pretty good top-end. Top-end is not something this track needs whatsoever. We approach the final corner. You can see I'm understeering, trying to let off. I bump the wall. Then we go again. Here's another example of the understeer. Just trying to get on the power, and the car just will not take it. Not enough aero on the car. So we get my first penalty of the evening. Now we cut the corner really hard. 52.1. Not quite there, but I know I'm close. Fast forward a little bit. We go on Big Banky Boy, and we understeer right off the track. Just so hard to get it right in some of these cars with the understeer. Jump ahead to the 5th lap in the session. Here's another example. Trying to get on the power early. This is a part where you need to get on the power early, and then I understeer, which upsets the car, ruins the whole next section. And now this lap is toast, and after some frustration and about 15 minutes with this car, I got on this lap. 51.954. Now on to the 2017 Lexus. I can see why people chose this as their manufacturer. It does feel nice on some tracks. 51.721. Now we go to the FT1, Toyota's handling car. 51.993. On to the BMW Z4, up to 11 out of the 49 cars so far. This car also felt pretty nice here. 51.997. Now onto the old Hyundai Genesis. One of my teammates wished me good luck on this one, and to rub it in his face, I did this on the very first lap, 51.942. Now onto the 1999 GTR GT500, more of a top speed car, but this one felt pretty good as well, 51.729. Now on to the WRX, another car. Got it on the first lap. This car felt really nice. 15th car of the session, 51.851. Now we go on to the 911. This car is wonderful to drive everywhere. Piece of cake, 51.709. And now we go on to the Mitsubishi Evo. Took me a couple laps because this car is not very fast, but a 51.908, really not that bad. Then we hit another small speed bump with the Suzuki VGT. This car loves to oversteer. And it's a known thing, if you remember when it was popular to use, and I believe it was Nations Cup or Manufacturers Cup, you use 1 or 2 gears higher than the recommended almost everywhere. You can see it understeers into the wall. 52.031, we were so close if we just hadn't hit the wall, but we have to go again. Even 6/1000ths is still not gold. So we try and get it around the track without oversteering and fail once again. You see, traction control, you can still crash, you can still oversteer. It's not a get out of fail free card. As we fast forward ahead a little bit more, 51.861, finally get that one out of the way. Now, the fastest lap I had of all the sessions was in the RCZ, and I completely forgot to record it. So you'll just have to trust me when I say, trust me, bro. Now we go on to the new Genesis. This car also really nice to drive. 51.726, got that one pretty fast. The GT500 Supra, on some tracks this car is really slow, but it was okay here. 52.005. The 2018 GTR, kind of a meta car, fantastic car to drive. I got this on the first lap, as you might expect. 51.978. The McLaren, another really strong car. Really planted, very nice to drive, very pleasant. It's always been very pleasant. 51.876. Now we're going to go on to the 4C. The 4C, I got a 52 flat, which I thought was interesting, but I was upset. I felt like I could go way faster in this car. This car was really nice to drive. That and the RCZ could be some good anti-meta cars here. 51.676. Now on to the Jag. The Jag had a little bit of an issue with oversteer, but ultimately not bad. 51.975. And now we reach the DBR9 and understeer. So I think, okay, let's go again. Let's try this again. Go around the final corner. We start the lap. Okay, we can do this, right? The end of that lap, coming around the final corner again. And we understeer into the wall again. On the very next outlap, we understeer into the wall again. On the very next outlap, we understeer into the wall again. On the very next outlap. Do you see where this is going? Do you see where this car is going? I hit the wall so many times, so many little half outlaps, again and again and again and again. And then I started trying to mow some grass to cut that last corner to do anything to get this car through that final corner at speed. Look, I'm even keeping count. 8 free donations to the wall and 3 lawns mowed. Make that 9 wall paint donations. And then out of literally nowhere, I got on this lap. A 52.030, so close! You thought this ride was over, didn't you? Well, no, you are wrong, as we understeer off the track again on the very next outlap. Finally, we get a lap down. It's 52.5, and I'm thinking to myself, can I please just get this thing around the track once? The next lap of 52.070. We are so close. And then I understeer off the track again. And then I get on this lap. with a little lift of the throttle for safety, we make it through in a 51.844. Now to the other Aston Martin. I'm thinking, oh God, here we go again. This one was actually really pleasant to drive, the V12 Vantage in a 51.956. Now we go to the Corvette, which I had some positive reviews from teammates about. Here, this one was really nice to drive, 51.982. Now we go to the NSX. The car's really nice to drive. It's very planted. It's just not very fast, but we still made it through 51.839. Then we have a 2-for-1 sale on M6s. My team said I had to do both of them, so you get both of them at the same time. They both came in well under 52 seconds each. Now to the Renault. This thing liked to get a little squirrely under braking, but overall wasn't really all that bad. 51.832, 32 out of 49 cars. We're getting close. The 18 Ford GT, this car another pleasant one. Not too bad at all, 51.905. Now we go to my team's favorite car, the Beetle. Not really too bad. This one took me a couple laps, but 51.750, pretty solid time. Now we get a 2-for-1 sale on hair dryers, both Mazda RX Vision cars, both under 52 seconds. That's 2 more cars. Now to the 2011 SLS. This car doesn't get used a lot in the game, but I found it to be pretty pleasant. 51.804. Now we go to the BRZ, which actually was a little bit of a speed bump for me. It's just not very fast on these low-speed circuits anymore. You can see a 52.4. My fastest lap was a 52.1, and I had another 52.1 as we jump ahead here in the final corner. Do we bring it home? 52.040. No. No, we don't. The car, really, I didn't crash it a lot. It just was not very fast. Now we try this again, coming around the final corner, and this time we bring it home at 51.956. Now we go to the Ferrari, which I was a little wary about because it had been a terrible car to drive in the past, but it was actually really nice. 51.983. The 2016 Merc, you don't see it used quite as much anymore with the addition of the 2020 Merc. It was a little slow, but not too bad overall. 51.804. Now we go to the white of the older Ford GTs. I forget which one is which. This one was pretty solid, 51.914. Now for the 2020 AMG. This car is somewhat popular, not the fastest of cars, but it handles really nicely. 51.929. Now we go to the Huracan, which is a car I was really afraid of, but it actually wasn't as bad as I thought it would be under the drag braking part. 51.977. Now we go to the 2019 R8. These MR cars I was a little concerned about, but really they weren't too bad at all. 51.904. Now we go to the black Ford GT test car. This one, the brakes on it were really bad. It was not great to drive. 51.787. Now we go to the 2015 R8. This one caused me some problems, as you can see here, with a little bit of understeer going on. So we understeer off into the sand, and then on the very next outlap, I end up oversteering at Big Banky Boy. It ended up causing a little bit of frustration. Started to go off into the sand again, but finally, after a few minutes, we wrangle the car, bring it home in a 51.897. I also forgot to record the Viper video. It was the only other one I forgot to record, so you'll just have to say, trust me, bro, again. Now we go to the Citroen, which the Group 4 car I actually like a lot of Citroen. The Group 3 one is just abysmally slow, but despite how it looks, we did not get it on the first lap. 51.954, and then we're on the last car. It's the McLaren F1, and I also saved one of the slowest possible cars for last. My first lap was a 52.7, and I'm thinking, oh boy, this car is slow. My next lap through is a 52.2, but I run off the track, lose a little bit of time. My very next lap coming around the final corner, let's see what this time is, 52.4. Just can't seem to get a time that's really threatening the gold time, and this car understeering off the track, 52.1, but the next lap is pretty much ruined. This car just isn't very good. It's really just, it was slow. It's no wonder nobody uses it anymore. Supposedly it was really good in GT Sport. 52.2 there. On the very next lap, we try it again. Off the track we go, 52.4. Gotta try again. We get a 52.1 down. I'm getting close. The car just won't give me a gold-worthy lap. 52.2. And this is several hours after I started, and so I know the track pretty well. And then, mercifully, I get on this lap. 51,997. We've completed the challenge. Well, that's what I'd like to say anyway. There's one small problem. The 2013 GTR is a .035. That's slower than the gold time. Or so I thought. Turns out I actually wrote it down wrong and it was equal to the gold time. But if the time got lowered at all while I was editing this video or what have you, it wouldn't be fast enough, so I decided, heck, I will set a faster lap, and I did, a 51.809. And that's it for this Gran Turismo challenge. We successfully put a gold time down for each of the 49 Group 3 cars for last week's time trial. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Your feedback and comments are really, truly appreciated. If you like these videos, if you have other challenges you'd like to see me try, or even if you don't like this kind of video at all, let me know in the comments. I really do value the feedback I get and try to take it to heart for future content. If you're new to the channel, subscribe for more content soon, and either way, if you don't mind leaving a like on your way out, it really helps the channel grow. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, see ya!